What is going on, everybody? Xaenca here, back once again with another dose of toxic masculinity. This time we're talking about Birds of Prey and the fantabulous crap stain on the already existing crap stain that is the DCEU. Now, how might one smear crap all over crap, you may ask? Well, just watch Birds of Prey. But particularly, we're going to be talking about box office numbers once again, ladies and gentlemen. Because as of this recording, we're now 17 days in, or 3 weekends, and most films only have a box office run of about 4 weeks. A little bit longer if you really want to stretch it out, but now's a pretty good time to see how this film is really doing overall. Because in the last Birds of Prey video I did, we only talked about the opening weekend, how it was a massive failure for DC and Warner Brothers. Everybody and their cousins were saying that Birds of Prey was a flop. Except for SJWs, of course, because they wanted to have you believe that, of course this is not a flop, how dare you?
How dare you?
Ford vs. Ferrari opened to $31 million with a budget of $97 million, but was hailed as a hit, and you call Birds of Prey a flop? Well, yes, Mary Sue, I do, and we're about to talk about that right now. So this is coming from our favorite person over at Forbes, Scott Mendelson, who you may remember as the guy who called all of us trolls for not liking Captain Marvel. He said Warner Brothers Birds of Prey, or Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, or Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, what the fuck ever, earned $7 million in its third weekend, losing 700 theaters and dropping 59% from last weekend's holiday inflated weekend. Goddamn. Kathy Yan and Christina Hudson's $82 million R-rated DC Films flick has earned $72.5 million in 17 days, which is about equal to Aquaman's opening weekend. I'm sorry, that's funny as fuck. Who would have thought that movie would have done as well as it did, right? And what a shock that girls actually went out and watched a movie with an attractive dude. I mean, God forbid the same standard is applied to a female-led movie, Birds of Prey. People like attractive things. That's why China said that Brie Larson was too ugly to be Captain Marvel, but went out in droves to see Aquaman and loved Jason Momoa. So based on that information, once again, what the fuck is this, Harley? What is this? Joker broke up with me, so I'm gonna dress like a drag queen. Harley Quinn 2020. Anyways, it earned $10 million overseas to cross $100 million in foreign grosses, but its $173 million global cum is nothing to sing about. Nothing to sing about, nothing to dance about, nothing to really do anything about because it's a piece of shit. But like Scott, our favorite person, just said, it's now sitting at a $72,529,015 domestic, $101,200,000 international, for a worldwide number of $173,729,015. Now this was on a production budget of $84.5 million according to Box Office Mojo. And because companies don't usually release their marketing budget, we oftentimes have to make a guess as to what the break-even point of a film actually is. So as much as SJWs would like you to believe that, oh my god, it already made more than its $84.5 million budget, that really doesn't mean shit until it crosses the break-even point. So what was the break-even point for this movie? A lot of cases we do like a ×2, right? We're just like, oh, whatever the production budget is, multiply it by 2, and that's probably what the break-even point is. But Sean Robbins over at Box Office Pro actually says what their sources say the break-even point is. Production costs were reportedly in the 85 to 100 million range. Right now we have it at 84.5. Factoring in marketing expenses, sources tell Box Office the film likely needs to reach upward of $235 million globally to break even for the studio once international television deals are factored in. So with a production cost of 84.5 that we have now, that implies that the marketing budget for this movie is around $150.5 million. Now, is that number reasonable? Is that number too high for Warner Brothers to put into marketing one of their superhero movies? Yes and no. I mean, it is reasonable, and no, it's not too high because we have examples of what Warner Brothers have put into marketing their superhero films in the past. For example, the marketing budget for Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice was reported to be $165 million, and more recently, the reported marketing budget for Joker was $120 million. So 150.5 sits in between those two numbers, so it's really not an unrealistic amount that they spent on the marketing, especially when you see them having done shit like this as well.
have got to be kidding me. Downgrade, courage. I said no.
Come on, Harley.
We've been here training for weeks.
Don't take this the wrong way or nothing, but you guys just aren't really birds of prey material. No offense.
But I love you.
Of course you do, Schnookums. Now quit messing around. Let's give these people what they want.
I mean, that just screams them throwing everything that they can at this movie. When I first saw that, I was like, these guys are desperate as shit. And of course they are, look at this piece of shit. But anyway, so $235 million globally to break even according to Box Office Pro. If we use Dawn of Justice's numbers, it's 249.5. And even if we go at the low end with Joker's marketing budget of $120 million, that still puts it at a $204.5 million break-even point. So back to what Birds of Prey is doing right now, it's at $173.72 million. If the movie does exactly the amount that it did over this entire week, which is like 13.198, we'll just call it $13.2 million for the entire week. If the movie does the exact same amount for the next 2 weeks, $13.2 million a week, that means no drop off whatsoever, which is not realistic. But just to prove a point, it still won't hit the low end break even point of $204.5 million with Joker's marketing budget of $120 million. And for it to hit Box Office Pro's estimates of what the break even point is of $235 million, it needs to hit that exact same number every week for 5 more weeks. Which it's not gonna do because box office drops are a real goddamn thing. So right now, where the film sits as it is, the film not only might not make any money, but looking at these numbers, it's more realistic that this ends up going down as another box office loser. And I'm not really surprised. I mean, this is what happens when you cater to the social justice whack jobs on Twitter, the woke-tivists. And the funniest thing about all of this, and I didn't talk about this in the last video, but the funniest thing about all of this is that they decided to cater to the people that didn't like Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad to begin with. Like, I remember reading this particular article and many others like it around Suicide Squad's time, essentially explaining why third-wave feminists and SJWs can't stand Harley Quinn. This idea that the Joker's devotion to Harley somehow mitigates his emotional and physical abuse is everywhere. When he gives her away laughingly to a man who casually objectified her, only to blow the offender's brains out a moment later. When he lays stricken in a circle of knives after she's taken to prison. When he elaborately tries to rescue her from the squad repeatedly, endangering her in the process. We're meant to root for Harley to escape the squad since we're told that's what she wants. When the Joker cheats death to return in the film's epilogue and rescue her a second time, it's played for a cute look at the evil lovebirds gag. All this runs contrary to Suicide Squad's Harley-centric marketing, which posited that Robbie's version of the character would have agency. Whatever agency Harley possesses is on loan from the Joker and only exists as an excuse for the camera to linger on Robbie's legs, ass, and chest at every opportunity. Apparently, dreaming up 2 separate skin-bearing costumes for Enchantress couldn't slate the filmmaker's lust. The film subjects a woman to systematic abuse and objectification so men can shrug and say, well, I guess she likes it, so it's okay. There's the best part. Angry anti-feminist comic fans have already begun attacking feminist critiques of Suicide Squad, of course alleging, as they are wont to do, that feminists hate sex and never want female characters in danger. But that's a transparent oversimplification. Feminism means more than giving a woman a bat or a bomb. It means a commitment to empowering women to defy their tormentors, break the cycle of abuse, and lift up other women in turn, not simply to raise the glass ceiling a few feet. If the average nerd thinks Suicide Squad is what feminism and pop culture ought to be, they couldn't be further from the truth.
Am I saying that I'm better than you? I guess I'm going a little further than you are. Yeah, I'm fucking better than you, okay? Much better than you. You are garbage, okay?
And this is from Samantha Riedel, former editor of the Mary Sue, and you know how much we love the Mary Sue. But that was a good summary of why the feminists and SJWs hated Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad. There were other things too, just like the fact that she was in a hetero relationship to begin with, but we all know that the SJW opinion is the minority opinion, so why in the hell would you as a studio take a look at something like Suicide Squad and say like, oh, everybody loves Harley Quinn? Yeah, except for the SJWs. But what do they hate about Harley Quinn? You mean they hate everything that everyone else liked about her? Fuck it, change everything.
I must confess, you have an astonishingly good idea there, Doctor.
And this is a prime example of what happens when you start listening to the minority, push their direction which contradicts completely what the majority's opinion is, and you end up with a movie that might very well lose money at the box office. Congratulations, Warner Brothers and the DCEU. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. If you did end up enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends, family, whoever you think would be interested in garbage like this. If you're new around here, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and click all so you can always be alerted every time I put out another one of these steak and cheese omelets. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.